Eddie Kirby with your bioplastic surgery. Today's patient story, the phenomenal flow-through flap. Special guests, leeches, my good friends. This is part one to explain this case. So in a previous case, I outlined why some replants fail. And one of the reasons is that the part's too traumatized. Well, there's a way to get around this in select cases, and that's what this case illustrates, the flow-through flap phenomenon. So here's a 58-year-old male who had a ring avulsion injury where his ring finger got caught in a ladder as he fell, transferred to me from Kaiser Fresno. What you can appreciate on his injury images here, I want you to see the difference in the levels of injury. Notice that the bone level is quite distal, the skin level is very proximal, and the vessel level, that radial vascular bundle, is somewhere in between. So what this really tells you is that this degloving severe avulsion mechanism results in a very large zone of injury, and that's critically important. Here are the injury films illustrating the bony level of amputation. So here he is in the OR. This patient was adamant after an extensive discussion, wanted to attempt replantation. We went for it. So in these particular cases, the only way to get this to work, given this degree of zone of injury, simple primary repair or even vein grafting alone to get arterial inflow is just not going to be sufficient. Why? Because the skin here and the skin here is all going to die because it's been so heavily traumatized. So one creative solution to solve that problem is the free venous flow-through flap. I mark out all the veins, these volar superficial veins as shown here. I construct a flap of the appropriate dimensions as shown here. You can see the directionality of flow. You can see the planned incisions and the flap itself to wrap around and replace a lot of that skin that I know is going to die if I just did a arterial reconstruction with a vein graft, for example. There's the venous flow-through flap, designed, elevated, dissected out, bony reconstruction, and here it is. That's the flap isolated. I'm going to wrap this around the finger. There's the radial digital arterial stump proximally, and there's the beauty. It's alive. Nothing more rewarding when that tourniquet goes down and you see that thing pink up. Now notice that skin, great illustration. There's retrograde perfusion of that native volar and dorsal skin. And so you've got this bypass graft from your venous flow-through flap restoring arterial inflow, and that arterial inflow goes to the distal pulp, but then goes retrograde proximally, resulting in that white skin paddle. I'm going to have to resect a lot of that skin from the amputated part, is what that really shows. And that's what's shown here. So this is what I found in surgery.
Proper evaluation, there's a venous flow-through flap from the forearm, and beautiful color restoration
like a duck, all you want.
I
gotta warm it up though. I gotta wait until it warms.
Excellent back bleeding. We're gonna resect a lot of this. There's the flap there.
So the key point there is to realize that a lot of that volar skin is going to die. Had I just done a vein graft or other solution, that skin is going to die. It's going to clot my vein graft. Finger's going to die. So this is a solution to get around that. In this case, I actually left the donor site open to heal in secondarily. We'll show you in parts 2 and 3 how that did. And then my good friend leeches come into play. They're hard workers. They're ever resilient, the leeches. Here's week 1, week 2 with good bleeding, etc. So how did he do from this, at least initially? 6 weeks post-op, I've got a well-perfused finger. Happy about that. The flap looks excellent. Happy about that. You can see the donor site is healing in by secondary intention. But dorsally, all that skin died. I did not design the flap big enough to wrap fully around and do a venous reconstruction for outflow and cover that bone. All that skin died. So that is an issue that will need to be addressed in subsequent stages of this patient's salvage. So I hope you enjoyed part 1 of the phenomenal flow-through flap. As always, make sure your surgeon's board certified. Ask for pre-op and post-op pics. I'll see you for the next one.